Now, where I'd like you to be, if I could, is I'd like you to be over on page 33. Okay. Now, there are just a few more things I'd like to show you with the task flow, and then I'm going to ask you to have a discussion about it, and then we'll be going to lunch. Tell me, do you have reoccurring tasks? Okay, so now the skill of this in terms of a planning process is a true reoccurring task should be put in as a reoccurring task. Okay, but don't just put tasks in to make them reoccurring, because then you become lazy. You end up with all of these reoccurring tasks. And we had one of our team members who got so enthusiastic about every recurring task that on certain days of the month she had a task list that was this long. And I said, well, what happens here? There's no prioritization. And she realized that she had overindulged a little in the reoccurring task. So what we're suggesting is when appropriate, use the reoccurring task. Now, how many in the room use hyperlinks? Hyperlinks. Okay, good to see that. What do you use hyperlinks for? PowerPoint presentations, share files. So, and this is where with your SharePoint, the hyperlinks are great. So, for those of you who don't know or don't use them, I'm encouraging you to use them. So we're going to practice using a couple of hyperlinks. And then the third one is, you asked the question before, Frederick or Grace, I'm not sure. If you, I think it was you. I said to you that if you've got a project and you actually want to be able to have all the tasks, we're going to use the category for particular projects so that you can see at any given time all the tasks that you've got scheduled for that particular project. Now, we're going to do all three of these together. So what I'd like you to do is, let's just say, we'll do it from today because that's a simple place. So I'd like you to all be in your calendar. Now, please double click and open a task. Okay. Now, when you open the task, what we're going to do is, today is Tuesday, every Tuesday we're going to update client research report. Okay. Now, again, simple, exactly like meetings. To make it recurrence, could you just click on the recurrence button here at the top on your ribbon bar? So we click recurrence. Now it will tell you that it will come up weekly, it will start today, and it will go forever. Ever. But if you have a project timeline, you can have it after, or you can have it by ending by a certain date. I just want you to click OK. Now, what I'd like you to do here is in the text area of the task, we're going to insert a document. Now, I want you to just click Attach File. And I'm sure that you've got some documents there, so I just want you to double click on any document. Now, this is not a recommendation. A recommendation is a hyperlink, so I want you to press enter a couple of times. Now, on your quick access toolbar here, you've got the hyperlink. So I just want you to click on the hyperlink, and I just want you to double click on any. Now, what's the difference between the two? Yeah, one's, it's the space issue, but what is more important than the space issue? Because Nudamine is correct, because what she's saying is this doesn't take any space, this does. That's correct.
If you change your document, you can update it with you.
Now here is, if you change the document, this one has no value, okay, because all that is a direct copy. So I just want you to click on that and click delete on your keyboard, because no value. Okay. Now, I've been asked as one of the things, I've got many things to share with you, but one of the areas that I've really identified in your business that would be very helpful for you is the hyperlinks and the SharePoint, you know, the SharePoint when you actually get it. It comes down to having some good protocol. Now the thing, in my observation, we've worked with companies everywhere, like Credit Suisse, all using SharePoint. The success of SharePoint is the protocol within your own team, okay? Because the majority of documents, now that team could be across the globe. I'm not saying that you're sitting in the office next door, but within your team, if you can establish some protocol, and when I had this talk with Ling about how she was trying to get this, they are struggling with a general protocol. And as I pointed out, it really, the ownership should not reside with IT. It should be within the team to make sure you have about version control, about how you update and things like that. So I'd just like you to take on that ownership, because this is invaluable when you start. But if people change the file name, what happens? It becomes difficult. Okay. So up to you, just think about that. When you send an email, if you're sending it to your team and you're putting an attachment, don't. If you know that attachment is on the shared drive, send a hyperlink. Okay? All of this will help with space, and you are struggling with space. There is not a corporate company alive that is not having difficulty with space. Okay, so that within the team, if you are sending attachments, put a hyperlink. But it does come back a little bit to version control. Now, Andre, answering one of your questions that you asked before was about the iPhone and the BlackBerry. Okay, the iPhone is a little, sometimes you can open the attachments. The BlackBerry, if it's a hyperlink, you can't open the attachment. So if you know a person is traveling a lot and they use their iPhone a lot, then you would put an attachment. Okay, just use a little bit of common sense with it. It's not an all or nothing, but if you can get it 70%, it's going to make a big difference. Okay, categories. Who works on projects in the room? Have a raise of hands. Okay. To use the categories in the task is very simple. So all I want you to do, you're still in that open task, correct? I want you to click on categories or categorize. I want you to come to all categories. When you come to all categories, I want you to click new. Please, could somebody give me the name of a project that you're working on at the moment?
Category management.
Category management. Oh, could we have something that's not too confusing? I mean, we're talking about categories and now we've got category management. Any others? Retail, HK Airport. Every time I come through, I'm looking for DFS. Where's DFS? I love that story. That's such a success story. So we've got, what's it called? Retail? If I just put HKA, is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Now, colours don't mean anything at all. Colours don't mean anything at all in this version of 2010. So, no, because you can't see it anywhere. And besides colours, you get a little bit... so I just want you to click OK. So you've now got a category that says Retail HKA. And then just click OK. Now, you'll see here in our task, you've got this category. So we've now got three things. It's a reoccurring task. It's got a hyperlink in it, which you'll update at any given time, and you've got the retail category. So first of all, I'd like you to click Save and Close. And what you'll see there is that you'll see that the task is on your task list, correct? Update the client research report. Okay. Now, I said to you it's a reoccurring task, but I want you to look at the 11th. It doesn't show. Because see, we have an expectation, like the calendar, when we put a reoccurring task, it's going to show it every time it reoccurs. Well, the task is a little different. To mark the task complete, you can mark the task complete in two ways. In the open task, you can mark complete, or you'll find that there's, let me just come back, I want you to come back to the 4th. You'll see here, update, see the little flag at the end? I don't know why, but the red flag, I just want you to click on it, and that will actually mark the task complete. Oops, wrong one. Now, just show you, if you mark the wrong task, oh no, I have marked the right task, monthly. What I want you to do now is go to the 11th and you'll see that the task is there, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so when you mark the task complete,
In that week.
goes down. Now, what happens if you don't do the task? Uh-oh, we've got a bit of a worry. Now, let me tell you, you cannot lose a task. I promise you, you cannot lose a task, because if you do not mark the task complete today, what does it do? It rolls over to tomorrow. And if you don't do it tomorrow, what does it do? Rolls over to the next day. Good thing is it doesn't roll over to Saturday and Sunday. It skips Saturday and Sunday. But what I will say to you is if you don't do that reoccurring task, it'll roll over every day till it comes to the next reoccurrence, which is next Tuesday. So you cannot lose it. One of the things I'll give you in a moment is a really great completion process. So, but you cannot lose the task. Okay. Now let me show you the value of the category. Could you all please just click on the tasks here? Now when you click on tasks, and you should be starting to get a feel for this now. We want to look at a view in the task folder. So we need to click view. So click view. Now at the moment it's sitting on the start date. I want you to click categories. Now when you click categories, what will happen is I want you to just go to where you've got expand and collapse. Can you see this? See where it says expand and collapse? Yes? I want you to click there and collapse all groups. Now, if you look at mine, I've got 3 categories now. I've got a new category which is called Retail HKA. Now, here's my marketing strategy. So what I've got here is a category. Now, if I expand that, then I've got all the tasks scheduled for that particular project. Okay? Very nice, Grace, because, you know, quite often you can have 20 or 30 tasks spread across the task timeline. And to be able to see it, and it just simply means that when you schedule the task, you just click that category. I really, you know, I know you have a lot of projects, guys, and this just does help with rapid retrieval. You know, if I can come to you and say, Grace, where are you at with the project at the moment? And you can just click one button and it's like this. Important to collapse the groups though. Now, we don't want to leave it here. We want to come back to our active tasks. So I want you to click start date. And then that will there take you back to our active tasks. Now I'd like you to come back to the calendar. If you could just click on the calendar. And I just want to show you where those are in the workbook. So if I could just ask you please, is you've got reoccurring task on page 33. I want you to be on page 34. You've got 3 things there which are of value. Inserting the hyperlink into the task. By the way, putting that hyperlink in the task reduces procrastination. When you come to a task and you open the task and you've already got the work in there, you're more motivated to get it done. Inserting a hyperlink into the email, which I showed you, and there is the inserting an extra email into the task, if you want to remember on the occasion I showed you how to do that. And then on page 35, you've got attaching the categories into the task, and you've got viewing the task by categories.